Hi, I am Pallavi Pandey. I teach HR and OB courses in the School of Management. It's been 6 years that I'm into teaching, and I took 5 years to finish my PhD in employees' intention to quit. Talking about my tryst with academics, honestly, I never planned or I never thought that I'll be getting into academics. I was never a good student. I've always been academically, I was not that strong. Very later in my life, particularly after MBA, when I got into PhD, I realized I developed this interest in talking to people, and that's how I got into HR and OB. Uh, it's been 3 years that I'll be completing 3 years very soon in the GSB. My journey with Kriya has been amazing. Lot of opportunities to work, to pursue personal and professional ambitions. Both uh, good contributions also. Got a lot of opportunities to contribute in various domains. So this has been a very exciting journey for me, and it is one of the best places in all my academic life. I think this is one of the best places I have worked in. So my research interest is started with employee well-being. Now gradually the core is still employee well-being, but the context keeps on changing. I have begun working on social issues in management, and employee well-being is still the core. So any topics related to employee well-being, for example, employee discrimination at work, for example, their understanding their satisfaction. My work recently that my work got published uh, talks about employee satisfaction, and also in understanding the adversities of employees at work. So these are the different domains. So methodologies, how I approach research, there is a lot of change in the methodologies also, because the problems are still the same when we talk about employees well-being at work. So I keep on exploring new methodologies. I particularly take the help of qualitative work, which is quite it is different from the conventional quantitative techniques. So in qualitative work aspect only I explore a lot, and the ambition is particularly to deal with how employee well-being is important, why companies or the practitioners needs to focus on employee well-being, how I can contribute as a researcher to the workers well-being, what are the methodologies that can come closer to this problem, that can help me explore their problem and devise the problems accordingly. So I think in my academic life, I'm going to focus on this area particularly. The dimensions and methodologies will keep on changing so that it has a larger implication in society. Uh, I also aim to address, with my research, I also aim to address the grand challenges of the world. I don't know how employee well-being is going to fit in this domain, but I'm sure there is a strong link when we talk about workers' welfare, when we talk about uh, you know employees from the marginalized community, employees migration. There's a lot of space in that area, and I'm very much interested in that. Leadership is second thing, which I feel is the area where I'm developing a lot of interest, because it's that area where I see as we are moving into the future of work, we see leadership crisis has always been the problem, still the problem. So it's the second area where I'm beginning to work. But again, the approaches are going to be contemporary. The leadership styles, exploring the new leadership styles, or maybe integrating the leadership styles which are already there, developing new theories. Talking about my published work and also the case study. So again, the core of it is employee well-being. In my first work, I talked about employee satisfaction, wherein I used mixed method approach. And why that study stand out is because this study is exploring the contextual factors that contributes to employees' satisfaction. And when we talk about contextual factors, there are lot many things when we talk about a developing nation. So if you look at the study as a whole, it it is giving a holistic, uh, you know, story about what are the factors, contextual factors that contributes to satisfaction, and why job satisfaction is different from job dissatisfaction. So that was a remarkable piece. Why I also believe that it is a study that stands out is because it is a combination of both qualitative and quantitative work, and more importantly, it is contributing a lot in the retail sector, particularly understanding employee satisfaction. So retail sector is a part of service sector, and it is a service sector is a pillar of our economy. So this is the reason why this study stands out a lot. Second, during COVID times, we published a work on benevolent leadership. So the model is talking about, our research model is talking about job insecurity, and why do employees resort to knowledge hiding. So if employees are resorting to knowledge hiding because the job insecurity is very high, so that means knowledge sharing is not happening. And when the knowledge sharing is not happening, ultimately the organizational goals, no companies will be able to achieve their organizational goals. So implication wise, this study during COVID-19 times was a very unique study. So also why it was a unique study was because we talked about benevolent leadership. So this is a very under investigated construct in the field of leadership. We definitely checked how benevolent leadership can help employees not to hide their knowledge, so that knowledge sharing can happen and ultimately they can thrive in the work environment. So again, a very good piece of work that got published in Journal of Knowledge Management. Third, again, I have been very vocal about my cases also. Last year, one of my cases about Zoho Corporation got published. Why I say that it is again a good contribution, particularly in the field of management, is because in this work I'm talking about profit and purpose. So how this company is focusing, is it's already making profit, but what is the leadership style the leader is using to achieve the business objectives and also the social objectives. So this is my first piece of work wherein I'm actually talking about how social problems can be solved with a good leadership style. So I think these are my uh, standout contribution, my contribution that stands out, the publications which are very close to my heart. So when we talk about the evolution of human resource management, see, when you talk about history, it started with personal management. Then somehow the organizations, or maybe not organizations, the scientists, they felt that it's the social dynamics at work that also plays a huge role. So from personal management, it became human resource management. And but the contribution of HRM was highly lateral. That means it was, HR was used as a support function, still relevant nowadays. But as we move on, we see that most of the big companies, they are now using HR as a strategic function, like intertwining the HR processes right from the beginning of the value chain. So evolution from lateral to strategic, definitely. From it has become more data driven now. As we move on into the future, you will see from strategic to IT. Strategy, I think, is a broader term, but under that, people analytics and data driven decisions are going to play a huge role in making policies and taking HR related decisions. So definitely analytics and making data driven decisions. So this is going to be the future of HR. Second most important thing is, we have been hearing a lot about diversity and inclusion. It is a very important realm, I also believe, but more than diversity, because diversity again is a very context specific thing. Inclusion is more important. We are lagging there, and future is definitely going to be on diversity and inclusion. Uh, and third most important is sustainable HRM, where you see the contribution of HR in the larger scheme of things. For example, societalization and understanding the grand challenges of the world. So climate change is a real crisis that we are facing right now. Sustainable HRM, I think in future, forget about sustainable HRM, sustainable practices or sustainable enterprise behavior. So in one of my current works, I'm working about the understanding the barriers and antecedents of sustainable enterprise behavior. So this is going to be an umbrella term under which we are going to make people-driven decisions, data-driven decisions for people, and then understanding diversity and inclusion. So definitely, again, from a lateral function to a strategic function to a larger societal function. This is the evolution of HR. And that's why we are witnessing that there's a lot of structural changes that are also happening in the company. So, and future of work is definitely going to be different. We are going to see, as we are hearing, AI has come into place, the gig worker, the gig setup. This is it will be very early to comment on this, but uh, definitely the realm would be, the future of work will be totally different. We are going to work from different parts of the world. The relationships are going to become transactional. AI is going to replace most of the job. People need to, in fact, students. And when I talk about students, I also talk about, ourselves, faculties, the people in business organizations. They need to upskill themselves because ultimately our jobs will also be at threat. So upskilling is very important. Understanding AI, how it can be a boon and a bane. You know, some regulations are also needed. Company-wise regulations, ethics will be a different debate. Okay, the code of conducts are going to be largely around the AI ethics. Social skills. Ultimately, it is again the core of people management. So this is going to be the future of work, which is actually very fragmented. But ultimately, we should keep our visions in mind.